for you. Tip for the week. I am Financial Coach Ray, founder and CEO of Financial Coach for You. Every single week, my goal is to give you some tips and ideas that will help you grow your business. Now, you might be wondering, what's in it for me? So many people have poured into me over the years, so I consider this my way of giving back. So here goes. Tip for the week. 4 reasons why prospects say no. Most coaches, small businesses, anyone in sales, and especially network marketers have never learned to develop their inner self confidence, and become the kind of person that is literally bulletproof. What I mean by that, if you would like to learn some of the best tricks or techniques and concepts for building a solid self image and massive self confidence, then you got to listen to this. So, I know that most people hate the idea of rejection. Who likes to be rejected? Not I. So, I'm not talking about, don't like the idea or wish or wish it didn't happen. I'm talking about really, really, really hating the idea of rejection. The idea sometimes cause people to you know feel sick in their stomach. Just the idea of calling a lead out of the blue, or maybe delivering a 30-second speech or invitation, it causes people to just turn sick, their stomachs, and literally feel like they want to puke because they're either nervous or they're confused about what they're about ready to do. So I know you can really get psyched up to pick up the phone. You're like, yeah, I'm going to pick up that phone. I'm going to call this lead here. But when the moment comes for you to actually do it, everything changes. Your heart rate starts, just beats. You're breathing, you might breathe really, really fast. Your eyes darting back and forth. Thoughts of rejection, just fill up your mind. And eventually the pressures of becoming, of picking up that phone are just so unbearable that you just, forget it. Okay? Most people find this state to be scary. And then they end up not doing it. They end up not prospecting. But if you're a small business, prospecting is very important. That's your lifeblood of your business. What sense does it make to be in business and you have no one to prospect to? You have no one to sell your products to. Okay? So the fact that you're choosing to walk away, it just leads to the instant gratification of not having to deal with it. The nervous feeling goes away, right? Most of the time, and when I'm talking about maybe 99% of the time here, people just walk away. They don't do it. They're like, this is too hard. They give up before they even get started. So I find this topic so fascinating, I decided to speak about it. If you just think about it for a minute, I can remember a lot of times in the past when I was just a greenie in this business, just learning about being in business, where I wanted to talk to prospects, but I just didn't do it. I couldn't muster up the courage to do so. So I know a lot of you can relate to this. The difference between, actual rejection and the fear of rejection is as follows. I think it's important to realize that there's a big difference between actual rejection, which is having a prospect who is offended and upset, rude, or etc. to you when you start talking to them, and the fear of rejection, which is how you feel when you imagine that person rejecting you. So what I found that for me personally, my fear of rejection is actually far, far more painful and difficult to deal with than actual rejection in the real world. The main reason for this is that most of the time, when you call up a prospect and you use the approach we teach you at Financial Coach for You, it is very pleasant. It is a very pleasant experience. Notice I said use the approach that Financial Coach for You teaches. This formula has been proven to get very little to no rejection if you use it correctly. So, out of the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times that I've used this approach, I can't remember any time that a prospect said, "Don't ever call me back again, you loser." Never. So, I'm sure it happened to someone, but it never happened to me. I'll tell you that for the fact. The worst I've had is a prospect saying it is a bad time to speak and hanging up before I could say another word. So they never yell or cuss or anything like that. But here's the kicker: you can experience an intense fear of rejection every time you consider approaching a prospect. So imagine something you can predict with almost perfect accuracy. You can't be in a situation anywhere, anytime, and still you're going to have fear of rejection, which will prevent you from approaching a prospect. Ah, the power of the human mind. How to deal with rejection once you get there. A lot of coaches ask me, "Coach Ray, how do you deal with rejection?" The answer is, I don't worry about it. If you get rejected, you'll be fine. Really, it's not the end of the world. It's no big deal. And it doesn't happen that often. And when it does, guess what? You are going to recover shortly after. It's basically really insignificant. The real question is, Coach Ray, how do I deal with my fear of rejection? Then we have something here. If you can overcome your imaginary fear of rejection, then you'll be on your way. Some people have a type of fear that they might call terror when thinking of approaching prospects. And so, if you have this level of fear, then you might want to take a minute and check out some of the videos that we have made available for you. Another question is, why do prospects reject you? Why would prospects say no to you? Now, let's talk about this rare instances where a prospect actually rejects you. For the sake of this discussion, I want to define rejection as a prospect doing something that lets you know that they are upset and offended that you called or approached them in the first place. I do not consider a prospect hanging up quickly or saying no thank you as a rejection. Okay? I found that there are a few main reasons why prospects actually will reject you. And here are the main reasons. This applies to any situation, not just over the phone. First, you are not setting the stage of their listening. In the script that we provide, we say, "I was hoping you could point me in the right direction." See? This sets the stage for them to open their ears to listen to your words that will follow. Now, you don't have to say it exactly how I say it. We have many, many coaches that say it differently. For example, "Not sure if you could help me out," or "I was calling to see if you could help me out." You are speaking too fast or too slow sometimes, and that would cause a rejection. For example, if you call up a prospect and they answer the phone with a very, very high energy level, and you deliver the invitation with very slow or low energy, then it can be a turn off, okay? And they'll hang up on you. So making a prospect nervous with your tonality or your body language, that's a hang up. That's a rejection. If you start talking and you sound like you're reading a script, then guess what? They will immediately disconnect and they will immediately hang up, okay? And they will say no. You don't like people reading a script to you, so don't do it to other people. Memorize your script so you don't have to read it. How many times you get telemarketers calling you? And it's the same old routine. It's not just like the time you hear them say, "Hi, is this Miss Ray?" You just know it's a telemarketer calling. I'm like, no, it's not. Bye. So not understanding your prospect's tonality, when you start talking to a prospect, they'll let you know how quickly if they're open to talking to you, okay? If you pay attention, you'll hear if this is a good time to speak or not. The good news is, here's good news. The invitation script is quick and it can be delivered literally in about 30 seconds or less. So despite any different situation you'll run into, the script is universal to get you minimum results, okay? So your goal is simply to get permission to send them an email with info on your business, okay? If they're committed to a business already, then you send some information to them. Experience is the best teacher here. You can't just say, oh, I tried 2, 3 times and I can't do this. I'm a failure. The more calls you make, the better you will get. As I mentioned, fear of rejection or imagining rejection when you should be imagining success leads to walking away. Okay? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Michael Jordan didn't get to be famous by just shooting 1 or 2 times. This guy, on and off the court, is always practicing. And that made him better. So, ironically, I found that the best way to overcome my own fear of rejection was to see that it wasn't going to actually happen. The more times I approached prospects, the people that I've met, and started conversations, the more I saw that people usually responded positively, the less I imagined things going wrong. So you got to think positive. You just can't go into a situation and start thinking negative. Okay, some of us just shoot ourselves in the foot before we even get started to walk. So now, here are a few ideas for overcoming your own fear of rejections. Practice your script. Even as seasoned as I am, I don't ever pick up a phone without a script. Okay? So, but you want to know your script so well that if someone throws a question in there, you're not looking like, oh, okay, where is the answer at on this script? You want to make sure you know what you're talking about. Make about 20 phone calls a day. You know, if you're nervous about talking to people on the phone, so search out answering machines. Okay? And how you do that, basically, if you're scared to death of talking to people, do what I did when I first got started. I would only leave voicemail messages, okay, and that I would normally talk to someone, I'll just leave them a voicemail messages on the answering machine. So this allowed me to say my script over and over and over and over and practice and be more relaxed. So when a real person answers, I'm not robotic. So if I called and I got a live person on the line, guess what I would say as a greenie? Oh, I'm sorry, I have the wrong number. Then I would hang up quickly and go on to the next call. So, all right, I think this is enough. This is a great tip for the week. Hope this video will help you muster up the courage to go make calls and take the steps to building your business. So until next time, I'm Financial Coach Ray signing out. Be blessed and stay highly encouraged.